Hello and welcome back to Tottenham Logic TV. Massive apologies for no notice for this live, but I got up today and I decided I just want to talk to you guys about the match this weekend versus West Ham United. So a few subjects I want to talk about today, and one of them is, can Brennan Johnson get 8 in 8? I thought it was going to be 7 in 7, but somebody corrected me yesterday and said that he scored for Wales as well. So he's already hit 7 in 7. If you want to include that, if not, it's 6 in 6 so far. But can he get 8 in 8 or 7 in 7 for Spurs? Should Dragushin start? Should Jed Spence start? Is this a must-win match, which is the main topic today? If we do not win against West Ham, is this going to cause a massive meltdown, or is this going to lead to more people saying Ange out? Are we going to be overreactionary again, or should we be? Forward players are coming back, so we have the likes of Sonny that should be coming back. We have the likes of Odebear. I think it's too soon for him. Richarlison is training now, so we have a lot more options to change the game up front than we have done for the majority of the season so far. Another thing I want to talk about is the fact that Kulusevski has given us another option in midfield now, which has really strengthened us in that position. And with Brennan Johnson's form on the right, it's really starting to click. We're just not getting the points that match our performances so far. We lost this game last season, so I'll have a look into that as well. And I'll go through the stats of that game, and I'll also look into West Ham's form, because a lot of people said they've had a bad start to the season, but that's quite deceiving, as the teams that they've played have been pretty strong teams. So a lot of teams would have had a bad start to the season, to be honest. So let's start with, is this a must-win match? Well, in my opinion, it's yes and no. Yes, it's a must-win match because we need a reaction to the Brighton game. We've been sitting on that now for 2 weeks, which has been very annoying. I just really wanted to get into the next game so we can, get that over and done with and get that out of our heads. So it's a must win in that perspective. But in the other perspective, if we lost against West Ham, I would not be sitting there overreacting and saying Ange out. It depends on how the game goes as well. If we're just as poor as we were in the second half to Brighton, and we were poor for the whole game against West Ham in that aspect, then I will be questioning what's going on, because obviously, you can't play that poorly in the second half after being 2-0 up to Brighton and then do it again against West Ham with no reasoning behind it. There's got to be a reason. Hello, Liston. How you doing, mate? Bergville might have a little knock, might rest this game. Okay, I don't think Bergville would have been in the first 11 anyway, but he is a good player in my opinion to come off the bench, because not only is he good on the ball, but he's got a lot of energy, and he's very good. I've noticed at winning the ball back. I've noticed it more in pre-season when he was getting a lot more game time, especially against Bayern Munich. I think he won the ball back about 4 or 5 times in one half. So. Yeah, Bergville been injured. I've noticed as well, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but we're getting a lot of injuries again this season. Last season, we got a lot of injuries as well. And it's starting to affect us really bad. But again, is this a must-win game? Should we be worried if West Ham come and turn us over on our ground again 2 years in a row? Because Ange was in charge when we lost to West Ham at home last season. So if we lost to West Ham again, our question's going to be needed to ask of the manager. I will not be reactionary. I will not be saying Ange out. I'm still going to follow this process. We need to give him to the end of this season, in my opinion, to give us a real story of how it's going to go from there. Another subject, somebody that's got a lot of ridicule lately, the last month or so, was Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson got slated, had to come off social media. His confidence was the lowest of the low, and he's come back and scored 6 goals in 6. And if you count the Wales game, that's 7 goals in 7. And has that shut everyone up now? I've still heard people saying, well, it's just a purple patch. Let's see how he gets on for the season. But he wasn't a first teamer, in my opinion, last season. Kulusevski was. And Johnson had a lot of sub appearances and still got 15 goal contributions just in the Premier League, which only Moura has. Lucas Moura was at the club for 5 years and he only beat that twice. And that's because he played 49 games in cup competitions. That was in all competitions. In the Premier League, Moura has never hit those numbers, and Johnson did it at the age of 21. Those numbers can't be ignored. Liston, do West Ham have any injuries? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. I know I was listening to a West Ham podcast yesterday, and they said Antonio is going to be leading the line, apparently. So that tells me that Fulkrug is injured again. Fulkrug is injured again. I still think they've got Bowen, they've got Kudos playing. They're going to play Souček in the middle. I'm not sure if they bought new midfielders, but Souček, this podcast was saying that Souček will be starting. So I'm not sure whether that's because of injuries or because he's a first teamer. Todibo is not injured. They're just not playing him at the moment. So I don't know what's happening with him. He's a very good player. I'm not sure why he's not playing. All these Spurs fans were saying to get Todibo, and they were gutted we didn't get him instead of Van der Ven. And now look at him. He's not even getting in the West Ham team, and we've got Van der Ven, one of the best centre-backs in Europe. So we did well there. So every time we get slated, it turns out okay for us. Yeah, back to Johnson. Johnson, if he scores against West Ham, if you count the Wales game, this could be, is it 8 in 8? If he scores against West Ham, 8 goals in the last 8 games for somebody that everyone said was not good enough. Let's hope we can take that into context when we start judging Odegaard. Odegaard has only played 2 games, just 2. And people are already saying he's not good enough. How can you say that? How? He's 19. We've got to give these guys a chance to even play. He's looked very confident for somebody that's come into a new team at a bigger club. No disrespect to Burnley, but a bigger club than Burnley, and he's not even looked nervous. Werner looks more nervous on the ball than Odegaard, and Werner is a German international Champions League winner. So we have to give Odegaard a little bit of credit because he's not shying away from the ball. He's constantly asking for the ball, constantly trying to take on his man. Whether he gets past his man or not, he's trying to. He'll learn the more games he plays. And the more us players will learn how Odegaard plays, so we can get him more involved in the game. Hi, Wilson T. Hope Johnson shuts all those narrow-minded fans up. Yeah, and I think he is doing. Wilson. I think that, scoring 6 goals in 6 games, yes, there's critics, because there always is critics, always, no matter what you do, saying that he hasn't scored against anyone decent. But I'm not being funny, but Old Trafford, away to Manchester United at Old Trafford, that is no mean feat to score against them at Old Trafford. People are just brushing it off as if they're not very good side, but we've never really had much success there other than that 6-1 COVID times. But Johnson scored there. He scored away against Brighton. Very good result. He scored the winner against Coventry coming off the bench. He's scored some important goals. And people forget as well, he's also hit the woodwork twice. He could have had 8 goals this season already, which is, he only scored 5 all season last year. He's already beaten that. So he's already proven critics wrong because his numbers last season were 15 goal contributions. He's already got 6. And he hasn't got no assists yet. Wait till his assists start kicking in. He got 10 assists last season. If he can just match that, he's already beat last season. Chris, hi mate. Fulkrug is out. Okay, Fulkrug is out. I don't know whether that's a good thing or bad thing. West Ham supporters have not been highly shouting his name or anything, but I don't think he's played many games at all. So that's another guy we can't really judge because he's not played much football. That means Antonio will be leading the line, which will probably be a problem for us because Antonio always seems to turn up against Spurs for some reason. Antonio's a good player. He's not elite. Romero and Van der Ven should be able to keep him quiet. It's just that, can we keep the wingers quiet is my problem. Kudos and Bowen. If Kudos and Bowen are getting a lot of the ball, then we're in trouble, to be honest. Another subject is, should Dragushin start? Now, last time, and the reason why I say this is because last time Romero came back from international duty, and I don't think he came back this week until yesterday, but he was complaining of tiredness then. And since then, he's been playing week in, week out and playing for Argentina again. So should he have a rest for this weekend and have a fresh Dragushin? Yes, Dragushin played as well for Romania, but he'll be more fresher than Romero will be. Chris, are you in the UK? I'm near Perth, Western Australia. No, I'm in UK. I'm a place called Peterborough. And yeah, it's not far from London. It's about an hour from the London Stadium, the Tottenham Stadium. So yeah, you from Australia? What time is it in Australia now? Because I think it's about 9 hours difference, isn't it? So it must be around 6:30 at your place, unless your clocks are changed again. Does your clocks change? Because ours goes backwards and forwards every year. It's stupid. I don't know why they do it, to be honest. Yeah, so should your Dragushin start? I think so. I don't see, there isn't a massive drop. 4:25. Is that in the afternoon? Is that PM? Yeah, it must be. It must be PM. Oh no, it can't be. No. Is that AM? It must be AM. No, it's got to be PM. Sorry. Oh God, it's early for me now. I've only just started this. Almost 7:30 for Scott. Hi Scott, you all right, mate? We just had daylight savings in New South Wales. So you've changed your hours. I've been to New South Wales. I've been to Australia, New South Wales. I've been to a place called, if I'm right, I've been to a place called Kempsey. Is that in New South Wales? I'm sure it was. Yeah, I went to Australia for 3 weeks, and most of the time when you're trying to look for places to visit, you have to travel for about 6 hours every time. Yep. Yeah, good. I thought it was. Yeah, I was there for three weeks, and I went there in October, and I was there till November time, and it was blistering hot. So that's when I found out that that's when it's your summer, because I was thinking, why is it so hot? But yeah, it's your summer around that time. I think November, December time. So it was very, very hot. I got blisters on my back and everything. But that was me being stupid, not wearing the t-shirt at the time. And I was only 17 at the time, so I was young and dumb. So that's what happens. And I nearly got killed by a kangaroo as well out in the wild, because we thought it was funny just to go up to them and pat them, and they didn't like that at all. They didn't want us to go near them, and they started tapping their foot. So we retreated very quickly. December to Feb. Oh, it was hot in November. I got blisters in November. So that proves I'm English, because I went to your spring and got burnt. So that proves I'm English and very, very pale, as you can see probably on the camera. Chris, I'm now an Aussie born in Scotland. Oh, you're an Aussie born in Scotland. That is like one extreme to the other. Scotland is freezing and Australia's boiling. So I don't know how you're doing it, mate. I wouldn't be able to live. If I was Scottish, I would not be able to live in Australia. No chance. Scott, you're lucky Roo didn't hop on your back and tail and box. Yeah, no. It looked like he was going to. You know what, as well? I didn't realize how tall kangaroos were. When we got close up to him, he stood up like, I don't know, whether on his 2 feet and his tail or some, I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he stood up and he looked like he was about 7 foot tall. I'll tell you what, I've never moved backwards. I didn't even want to take my eye off him, but I was walking backwards so fast. I was like, I nearly fell over. I was like, oh my God. We were sort of like in the, I won't say it's the outbacks, but we was like in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't know if you know Kempsey in New South Wales, but it's not exactly in like the middle of town or anything. So it was crazy. We were seeing everything. I saw snakes going across the grass. I was like, in the UK, the only thing we got worried about is a bee or a wasp, and they don't even hurt you. So when you go to Australia, everything can kill you. I saw a red like ant. It was about that big. I was going to go to cameras, but that big. It was red, and I knocked it into the swimming pool because because I was scared of it, and it just swam out. I was like, is that an army ant? I don't even know. I ain't got a clue. Anyway, I'm talking too much about Australia, not about football. Scott, kangaroos on back tail is how they kill dogs, sadly. Oh, shit. Death grip and arms and kick both. Oh, my God. So I was close to dying, you're saying. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Well, at least I survived. I went to Australia and I lived. I've got lived to tell the tale. Oh, we went into the sea, by the way, and we didn't see the sign saying that were sharks in there. So we basically swam with sharks unknowingly as well. So lucky we didn't get eaten by them as well. And all the Australians were sitting on the beach and staring at us like we was crazy. Obviously, we didn't know anything about it. Went in there, and then we found out after there were sharks in there. So I was like, for fuck, oh my God. I could have died. I'm not lying. I could have died about 7 times when I was in Australia. Crazy, man. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be talking about football. Ended up talking about my holidays. Right. So yeah, okay, we'll get on to Jed Spence. Should Jed Spence, all right, Tom the Bomb, I've seen you, mate. How you doing? You okay? So yeah, should Jed Spence start as well? Poro played in the international football. So Spence will be fully fresh. It's a game we need to win. Should he be playing? He's been very impressive, in my opinion. Even playing out of position at left back, coming on for your doggy. He's been playing very, very well. If it weren't for him, we'd be out of the League Cup as well. So, and he's just got a new contract. So well done, Jed Spence. He's earned it. His attitude's been perfect. So whoever was saying his attitude's poor, his attitude's been very, very good, to be honest. He's waited for game time, and when he gets it, he gets it, and he plays very, very well. Tom the Bomb, hi mate, I'm good. I like Spence and Dragushin, wouldn't mind either starting. And I'm in exactly the same boat. And this is why we have a squad. And this is why when people say our squad is not that strong, if we bring Dragushin and Spence in, 2 of our back 4, by the way, the level wouldn't drop off too much, in my opinion. It wouldn't. Like at the moment, Romero's making a lot of mistakes that Dragushin hasn't. You know, I know Dragushin got sent off after 8 minutes because, you know, that was just unlucky that day. But he's a very good player, and if you see him playing for Romania, he's a solid player. And not only that, he gives us that strength in the box when crosses are coming in and set plays. Dragushin's very good at that. Scott, Poro start and Spence on at half time. I at least, sorry, it's very small. At least hope minimum. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that either. If Spence played a half and Poro played a half, just to freshen it up, rather than realize on the 60th and 70th minute that Spurs are lacking in, you know, the press, because the press dropped massively. It even shows in the stats. You could see it from the eye test, but in the stats, Tottenham's press dropped dramatically. We Are Tottenham TV done a brilliant, showed a brilliant stats on this, how it happens in every game. Around the 60, 70th minute, our pressing seems to drop dramatically, and that allows chances to start occurring for the other side. But before that, we dominate the whole game. And so if we could just, you know, even if we know that happens, then just drop off for 10 minutes, get your breath back, and then go again, sort of thing, rather than give away 100 chances in 5 minutes, like we seem to keep doing. So Scott, maybe even replace Destiny instead. Oh, yeah, that's a shout, because Destiny in that second half against Brighton was awful. And I love Destiny Udogie. I love him. When he's on his game, he is a brilliant, brilliant left-sided player. I can't even say left back anymore because he doesn't really play left back. But he's a brilliant left-sided defender, and especially going forward. But against Brighton, he was terrible. He was really poor. And if Ange wants to show the players that if you play poor, you're out the team, and that's the whole point of having squad depth, then yes, Jed Spence should get a go. And if Jed Spence plays really well against West Ham, we win, and he gets a good performance, then your doggy should fight for his place. That's the whole point of a squad. A squad's not there just to sit there and come on off the bench. They want to fight for their place. That's what a squad should be for. To say, if you're not going to perform, I'm going to be there and I'm going to take your place. Chris, Udogie looked a bit slow against Brighton. He played the other day as did Porro and Dragusin. It seems more like midfield and forwards drop off the hard press second half. Yeah, I agree. The forwards, I'd say, other than Solanke, I found that Solanke was pressing on his own against Brighton in the second half, and everyone wasn't pressing with him. But in the first half, everyone was pressing with him, and Brighton just couldn't handle it. And Matoma wasn't getting as much of the ball, if you notice. When we was pressing the final third, he got the ball a couple of times. Don't get me wrong, Matoma's a brilliant player. He's gonna affect games. I would love him to play for Spurs. He'd be brilliant for Spurs. But in the first half, they were not getting that much joy. We were getting shot after shot, creation after creation, chance creation. Second half completely dropped off. It shows in all the stats. The running was lower, the pressing was lower, the tackling was lower, the duels winning was lower, the aerial duels was lower. Everything was lower, and that contributes. And that's not a manager thing. The manager saw them come in at halftime, and all he would have to say to them was, "Do the same in the second half, lads." He didn't have to say to them, "Keep going, keep doing what you're doing." He knew they was doing well. Just do the same in the second half. He didn't have to. And when we let in a goal early in the second half, maybe he thought, "Oh, they might react to this like they have done in the past. We've gone behind many times in the past, reacted and scored back." So he was waiting for that reaction, and then bang, it was 2-2. Then all of a sudden he's like, "Well, if I make a change now, then is there time for reaction or not?" So in the end, he didn't do anything. So I don't think he knew I don't think he thought making a change would make a difference, because, like I said, all the metrics were lower. Bringing on three players to change the whole team's metric isn't going to work anyway. Basuma could have come on with Sarr and ran their asses off, but everyone else would have stood around watching. It wouldn't have made a difference, in my opinion. But that's probably what he thought, maybe. I don't know. I'm not him, and he knows more than me. So Tom the Bomb, one day I'd love to see Van de Ven, Dragusin, Romero, Porro back four. So are you saying Van de Ven left back then? I'm assuming, let's say you are. So it'd be Van de Ven, Dragusin, Romero, and Porro as the back four. It's not bad. Be very, very strong. The only problem with that, Chris, is if we have all our centre backs playing at once and one of them gets injured, who are you bringing on? The level will drop then. Like, let's say Ben Davis comes on for let's say Romero, then the level's dropped off straight away, hasn't it? But if you've got Dragusin coming on for Romero, the level doesn't drop off as much. I think if we brought in another quality centre back, then that could start working, in my opinion. Somebody that can, somebody that's quick as well, just in case Van de Ven gets injured. Yeah. So Scott, whenever we swap 1 to 2 players at halftime, it has a better impact. Yes. Yes and no. I don't think we swapped. Did we swap any players for the Man U game? I can't remember now. Not off the top of my head. Did we swap any players in the Man U game at halftime? Because in the second half, we scored after about 2 or 3 minutes. I don't think we needed to, because they were down to 10 men. So I don't know. But I think we swapped it after we scored the second and third, and then we started changing things up, I think. Okay, in recent games. Yeah, so I think in recent games, though, we weren't playing teams like Brighton, if that makes sense. So we could swap games out because we were already in control of them. So they wasn't pushing to, we didn't need to make a change because they wasn't pushing to beat us. We were in ascendancy. We were on top. So we were making changes to make us even better rather than making changes to react to what they're doing. And against Brighton, he didn't react to what they were doing because he assumed the players would. He had his best 11 on the field at the time. So he was wanting them to react. And to be honest, as a manager, and well, as a player, I mean, and you're playing for a top club in the UK and then around the world, you shouldn't need motivation to start playing football. And I 100% he'll address this before the West Ham game, and you'll see a fight in Spurs again against West Ham. I 100% believe that. But play devil's advocate, if we see the same time in the second half against West Ham, second half of Brighton against West Ham, and nothing changes, then it's a manager problem because he hasn't addressed it. He hasn't said, I don't want that performance again. He probably has, but then they've not listened. And then it's a manager thing, because you can't send them out doing exactly the same performance as that. Not 2 games in a row, no way. You can't get away with that then. So Brentford was a swap at halftime. So Brentford, yeah, okay. Well, who did we swap at the Brentford? Sorry, like my brain is not thinking about subs at the moment. Who did we swap out in the Brentford game at halftime? Was that because of an injury though? I cannot remember. Do you want me to Google it quick? Let me just have a little. Let me have a little look on here. If you can find it before me, be welcome. Brentford swap half time, and need to check. But did we score in the second half with a double swap? I think that was against Karabakh. I swear, like we bring Sarr on and Bergville, and Bergville crossed for the corner, and Sarr flicked it on for Solanke goal. I remember that substitution. That was a very good substitution. If I go to, let's look for. Oh God, I'm really ruining this now. Teams: Tottenham, Hotspur. Matches. I'm nearly there. Just give me another half hour. So against Brentford, I've got it up now. So lineups. So we subbed off in that game. Let's see what subs came on. So we made subs not at half time. So Brentford, it was 63 minutes. Basuma came on 70 minutes. Sarr, 88 minutes. Gray, and 88 Bergville, and 88 more. So there was no subs at half time against Brentford. I didn't think we needed to in that game either. We was dominating that team massively. I think he wanted to kill it off before he wanted to make subs. So 63 minutes we bang on plays, and we scored. We was already 2-1 up at half time, wasn't we? We was already winning. So I'm not sure he needed to make any changes. Spence did in the sub. So Scott said Spence did in the sub as well. Yeah, so Spence came on against Coventry and scored, changed the game. Udogie was playing well that game, to be honest. But Spence came on and played even better, in my opinion, and got the goal that we needed. He was, when I say better, he was better at getting the ball forward and taking on his man and getting in the box. He was doing that a lot more than Udogie was. So Chris says, I keep thinking the 11 on the pitch would pick up their game. It was our first 11 until 3-2. Just seemed like too many switched off with the press. You know, we didn't know the fitness of the bench. Yeah, that's very true as well. Like, I think on the day, he didn't trust the players to come on and make a difference. And I don't think he wanted to throw them in and let them get the blame for what was going on as well, because I'd say, apart from Solanke's pressing, the whole team switched off the press. It shows in the stats. It's very clear. The whole team switched off. And the only logical reason, this is why I'm called Tottenham Logic. The only logical reason for this is the players. You can blame Ange all day long if you want to. But Ange, we went in 2-0 up. We were playing some fantastic football, playing some brilliant football. There's no way he could have foreseen a drop-off like that in the second half. And when we were having a drop-off, he wanted the players to react. I would be the same. I think I would have done the same. I would have waited for them to react, and they didn't. And I think because they scored those 2 goals so quickly, it was already turning. And I don't think he wanted to throw those players in, especially Mikey Moore, because Mikey Moore came on, remember? I don't think he wanted to throw him in the deep end like that and say, go on, you change the game, because I don't think they would have. And when they did come on, nothing much changed. So that proved it. Like, they came on, what minute did they come on against Brighton? Let's have a look at the Brighton game. So when did he make the subs? So lineup. So he made the subs on the set. Well, I still think that's a bit late though. Yeah. 79 minutes, Sarr came on and Basuma came on. Then Moore came on 85th minute after that. So, but the bench wasn't the strongest. But I still think there's other things. Let's play devil's advocate and say, let's say he should have made subs. Udogie was having a mare, so Spence should have come on, to be honest. Jed Spence should have came on for Udogie, to be honest, and maybe that would have changed things up on that side of things. But it was Matoma on the other side that was causing problems for Porro. But Porro was having an okay game, to be honest. So it's hard to say, it's hard to tell, really. Searching for Google for results after you've done 15 hours of work, mate. You need to go to bed. 15 hours, bloody hell, mate. Credit to you. It's not easy. What do you do for a job? 15 hours, no matter what job you're doing, is very hard. So I hope you don't work in construction, because 15 hours of construction, I'll be having like 25 hours sleep after that. I used to do construction when I was younger, and I'm telling you now, that is not easy work. Very, very hard. Yeah, even me, like searching back on games, like I research these games every bloody day, like obviously because I've got a channel, and I still don't remember every stat. It's about 1 billion stats, and like people throw them at you really quickly, and you're like, yeah, I'll just Google it. That's a joy. I wonder what people did years ago without Google. Did they just argue for like 6 years until like someone gave in? Now the argument lasts like that. The argument just lasts for about a minute, and then no one argues anymore because Google solved the argument. You're a butcher for 15 hours. That's a lot of protein, mate. That's a lot of protein. Credit to you. I love meat. Thanks for doing what you're doing, mate. You're making me feel hungry already, mate. You're making me feel hungry. I'm just talking about football. I'm not even working for 15 hours. But credit to you, 15 hours of any job is very, very hard. And so I'm guessing it's your own business if you're putting that much hours into it. Same. Yeah, so what other subjects are we talking about today? You're making me forget about the actual topics, you know. So another thing that got thrown around after the Brighton game was, which I thought was a little bit laughable, to be honest, was that some people were saying, I'm not going to name anyone, some people were saying we are in a crisis. Well, they asked a question. They didn't say it. They just asked the question, are we in a crisis? And even asking that question is laughable, because we won 5 in a row. We battered them in the first half and just had a horrific second half. That's not a crisis. That was a very, very, very immature performance, I'd say, in the second half against Brighton, which I'm hoping never happens again. And to say we're in a crisis is ridiculous, considering a week before you were saying, can we win 6 in 6? So it's laughable a little bit for me. If we beat West Ham tomorrow, UK, tomorrow time, it will be 6 in 7 that we've won. So crisis. If we lose to West Ham, it's still not a crisis, but questions need to start being asked. Losing to West Ham at home. I'll tell you what, though. West Ham form has been poor, and everyone says, oh, we're going to win definitely because West Ham's form is poor. But just remember, West Ham have lost to Villa, Manchester City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. And all 4 of those teams are good teams, and all 4 of them are on form. So West Ham's defeats haven't been like horrendous because they've only lost to big teams, which we have lost to big teams too. So we're having the same sort of season. So it's not going to be West Ham are coming, we're at home, it's going to be a walkover. It's going to be it's going to be a very tough game. West Ham's results have been very underestimated because they've been playing some good sides. Scott, Dom Solanke was in a crisis after not scoring in what? 180. Exactly. And that's what I mean. Us Spurs fans have meltdowns way too quick. Like 180 minutes, 2 games of football, and he's not good enough to play for Spurs. Somebody said on TalkSport, I think it was, the shirt weighs too heavy. Somebody phoned in on TalkSport. The shirt weighs too heavy on Solanke after 2 games. Oh my God. And you got to remember, in the first game, he got a knock against Everton and then played on, which resulted in him missing a couple of games. So he even got a knock early in the Everton game and still carried on. So he was injured for half that game anyway. So he basically played 1 game where he was fit, and then it was a crisis for Solanke. So yeah, that's laughable, really. It's laughable. You know, like We're even judging our window already. Like, we haven't seen any of those players playing. You won't, because our first teamers are playing. Why would you not play your first teamers? Again, like, we should be playing Gray, Moore, and Bergville Raw. If we're paying this much money for them, yeah, great. But we paid that much money for Porro. We paid that much money for Romero. We paid that much money for Van der Ven. We paid that much money for Bentancur and Basuma. So what? We're not going to play them now because Gray cost about 5 million more or something. I don't get it. Anyway, Edward, if the team can address whatever happened in the second half against Brighton, we'll have a good season. Exactly. Like I said earlier in the video, if in the live stream, I mean, if we have the same performance against West Ham in both halves, even in one half against West Ham, then it hasn't been addressed and there's a problem. Then there's a problem between player and management, because the management, Ange, will 100% be telling these players that's unacceptable. I do not want to see that again. And if they do it again, then they're either not respecting him, or they don't want, or they're not listening, or they're not good enough. It's one of those things. Chris, West Ham won. West Ham are 1 and 2 draws in their away games this season. They're not crap. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree, Chris. West Ham are not crap at all. They've made some very, very good signings. Like I keep saying, this is going to be a very hard game. And not only that, West Ham seem to be built to beat a team like us, because they have some very good players on transition, like Kudos and Bowen and Antonio. Souček to win it in the middle for their strikers to win the ball back. They've got some very, very good players we need to be aware of. It's not a case of we're turning up and we're winning this game. We have to be 100% on it. If we're even 10% like the second half against Brighton, we're going to lose this game. We need to be at our maximum to be winning this game. And luckily, players like Bentancur, Maddison have had rests. Solanke hasn't played much game over the international time. Brennan Johnson played, but he's still fresh in my opinion. Sonny's back from a long rest, so that's more freshness. Richarlison's back training now, so we can swap it up if we need to. Van der Ven and Romero, Dragusin and Spence can come in for Udogie or Porro. So we can freshen it up. So there's no excuses for us to be tired, like they keep saying. We need to have our A game against West Ham. If we don't have our A game against West Ham, we are going to be a massive trouble. I'm telling you now. So good point there from Chris. Also, what does everyone think about our new midfield now? And when I say new midfield, I mean Kulu, Maddison, and Bentancur, because it's a shame Bentancur is going to get banned. Oh, yeah, I just want to quickly tap on Bentancur, going off on a tangent there. When does Bentancur's ban start in the Premier League? Because it's been going on for a while saying he's going to be banned. They've said he's going to be banned. They haven't said how long yet. They haven't had a date on when this ban starts. I think he's going to be starting against West Ham. He's playing very, very well lately, and it's a shame because we've sorted our midfield out 3 that we need: Bentancur, Maddison, and Kulu. So when does it start? Does anybody know? Because I tried to Google it. I can't find it anywhere. Still waiting on the verdict. Scott just said still waiting on the verdict. So cheers, Scott. Thought so, because I couldn't find the answer anywhere. So that's good. That means Bentancur can play tomorrow against West Ham. I know Bentancur can play in the Europa League, but the standards are a lot higher in the Premier League, and we do need Bentancur. But Basuma is a very good player too. He just needs to be more consistent. But does everyone agree that Bentancur, Maddison, and Kulu is our best midfield 3 at the moment? Because I think it is. I think they're doing very, very well. Scott, I believe that why Bentancur also getting more time is on field due to impending ban. So do you think that Bentancur is only getting game time because he's giving Basuma more rest? Is that what you're saying? Or do you believe that he thinks Bentancur is the better player and just fielding him while he can? Scott, he worked his way into form. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And when everybody says, my argument last season when we had injuries was that Bentancur got injured last season, And people were like, yeah, but he was involved in 26 games or whatever, which is still 12 games missing, by the way. But a lot of those games he come off the bench because he wasn't match fit. There's a massive difference between being on the bench ready to play and being match fit. It takes, especially after a long injury. I don't know if any of you on the chat have ever had a long injury. It takes a very, very long time for us to get back to full fitness, especially at elite level like the Premier League. It's not easy. Chris, if Bentancur banned, will it be for an English competitions? Yeah. So it's anything to do with the FA. So basically League Cup, FA Cup, and the Premier League. He can play in the European competition, so he can play in Europa League, which is still good when we're playing better teams like Roma, Galatasaray. I'd say Rangers as well, I suppose, to a certain extent. Bentancur can play in those games, which saves Basuma for the Premier League, which is still not a bad thing. Basuma and Bentancur are not far apart on levels, so that again the level doesn't drop so much. Yeah, the max is Scott. The max, he says, I believe the max is a 12-week ban. Yeah, the max is a 12-week ban. What I think will go in his favour, I'm not actually I'm not an expert on this, but what I think will go in his favor is he apologized straight away. It was very clear he wasn't trying to be racist. He was trying to be funny. Again, that doesn't excuse anything that he said. Also, Sonny accepted his apology and also said Bentancur is a good guy and he wouldn't mean to be like that, which again will go in his favor. So if he gets a 12-match ban for that, I'd say that was very harsh. I'd say he needs to be shown by example and say, yeah, he does need, he does need to be shown you can't say things like that and show others that they can't say things like that. I agree with that. But I still think 12-match ban would be very, very harsh for him. Just especially because him and Sonny have made up about it. There never really was an issue with Sonny. And so the person that he offended is not offended, if that makes sense. But I get it. If anybody else was offended, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Whatever happens, it's up to them what they do, and we're just gonna have to deal with it at the end of the day. I think 12-match ban would be a bit harsh. If it is, it is, and I'm not gonna argue against it because it's a serious matter. So Edward says they will drop charges against Bentancur because they let Chelsea off the hook. Can't have double standards. Well, because of the backlash with Chelsea, maybe they might use Bentancur as example. Maybe don't include the Rangers amongst the good teams. Okay, it's just because one of the people on the chat was from Scotland and I was trying to be nice. You know what I'm saying? But even though he's Australian now, so we probably don't care. So Sonny said he is his brother. Exactly. That's my point. He's his brother. And the biggest mistake he did was say it live on telly. Just if you're going to do silly little jokes like that, just say it to Sonny. Without no cameras and stuff. I'm not endorsing it and saying you should say things like that. I'm saying if Sonny is accepting of that sort of thing, then just say it to Sonny and nobody else. Sonny didn't even know what happened when Bentancur called him to apologize. I know. It's just the way the world is at the moment, and we're just going to have to accept it and take whatever punishment is given and then move on from there and then just hope it doesn't happen again. Bentancur, in my opinion, it doesn't mean I'm right. It just means that I honestly believe he didn't want to hurt anybody's feeling. He's just not very funny. He's just not. He tried to be funny and he wasn't. That was it. And then it turned out to be worst case scenario for him. But again, he's playing this weekend, so it's good that the ban hasn't started yet. And I'm hoping the ban isn't for too long. Probably, I think the minimum, by the way, you said the maximum ban was 12 games, but I think the minimum is 6. So he can't get lower than 6 no matter what happens. So 6 is still a lot of games in the season, especially if the ban starts over Christmas period. He's gonna get through those. he's going to get through that bound very quickly because we play 6 games in about fucking 20 days or something. So he'll get through that very quickly. If you're watching and you haven't smashed that like button, please smash that like button. Get this shown to as many Spurs fans as possible so we can all chat together, have a good laugh about Spurs. Let's not make it too serious all the time, because there's so many times I'm watching YouTube and everyone's crying nearly about Spurs, and it's not the end of the world. We all love Spurs. We all want them to do well. We all get passionate. I get passionate massively when I'm watching them. I get annoyed. I get angry sometimes. But I always try to remember that there's other things in life that are more important, like your family, your children. And, I've got a wife that I love, and she, she's more important than football. So when she says to me, "Are you feeling better now?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've forgotten about it." The only time, obviously, I get passionate about it is when I have to make videos and stuff. And but once I switch this computer off, that's it. Boom, it's gone, because your family is more important. So we have to take that into account when we do go off on one and have meltdowns. So I like this live stream to be, chilled, and we can talk freely about Spurs without having to get angry with each other, because people got opinions about Spurs, and even if it's not right, I honestly believe we shouldn't be abusing them, So, I've even had a case where somebody said something against someone on my channel, and I took it as a joke, which I regret now. But I took it as a joke, so I didn't think it was offensive, because it was towards me about somebody. So I took it as a joke, and I didn't fuel the fire. I just got on with it. And then obviously it offended the people that they were speaking about. So massive apologies for that, and I regret that. But it won't happen again. So if any of you ever come on my channel and violence towards any other YouTubers or anything like that, then I'll have to delete it off. But I just want this channel to be happy. I know it's not always going to be happy, because we're going to lose games, obviously, but we've got to realize we're going to lose games and not have a complete meltdown every time it happens. But on the other gist of it, when we win a few games, we can't get overexcited and say we're going to win the league every time, because then that just entices other people to come and abuse us when we do eventually lose a game. So Scott, Sonny didn't even know you had done that. Yes, it's 6 weeks. Yeah. So yeah, he's saying the minimum ban is 6 weeks for Bentinker. So people in the chat now. Also, if you're new here, subscribe. I'll be doing channels on a daily basis. This is only my third ever live, by the way. I'm still not used to it. I still don't know how it all works properly and all that sort of stuff. I'm still learning, but I will be doing a lot more lives going forward. So thank you to everyone that's joined today so far. Thank you for all your comments and joining in the conversations. I try to reply to every comment if I can. Sometimes I come fast and it's hard to read them all. So if I miss you, apologies for that. I just want to reiterate that when we have our opinions on here, just be aware that someone might not have the same opinion as yours. That's fine. Just don't try and force your opinion on someone. That's your opinion. That's their opinion. Meet in the middle or agree to disagree. That's about it. I love the passion though. I love the banter. I don't mind a bit of banter. That's fine. Have banter with me. Take the mick out of my glasses or my bald head or whatever you want to do. That's fine. I can have a bit of banter, but let's get on to the subject. That's out of the way. Let's talk about again. Is this a must-win game for Spurs? Do you think, we've touched on this earlier in the video, do you think this is a must-win? And that's the main thing about today. If we didn't win today, what would your reaction be? I'm quite interested in how you would react. And does that depend on how we played? If we had 39 shots at goal, 38 on target, and the goalkeeper saved every single one, and we lost 1-0, would you have a meltdown about that? Would you say that, we should be finishing our chances, it's down to Ange out? Or would you say, look, that's the most unluckiest game in the world, we should have won, but we didn't? Mine would be the latter. Mine would be, we lost a game that we we should have won, which is the story of our season so far. I don't think our points are reflecting our performances. Our performances have been very, very good, other than the second half against Brighton. And I'm just talking about league games, by the way, because the performance against Coventry was disgusting. It was a horrible performance. We were lucky to get through. So how would you react if we didn't win? So Tom the Bomb, the next game is always the most important game, but no game is a must win. Yeah, and and that's the level-headedness that I was talking about. We want to win every single game, that's obvious. I'd want to win the rest of the games of the season. But you've also got to expect that it's not always going to happen, and you can have good performances and still not win. But I'd rather have good performances and lose rather than have bad performances and lose. Because last season, when we were losing 4-0 to Newcastle at their ground, we came away thinking, I'm glad that wasn't 7. But when we lost to Newcastle 2-1 this season at their ground, we came away thinking, bloody hell, we should have won that. So the improvements are already showing. We just need to let that forward line click a bit more. It doesn't help that you have lots of injuries to forward players. And it doesn't help that Werner's starting games. I love Werner's work rate. I love the way he tries to take on his man. I love the way he doesn't hide. He still asks for the ball, but I just hate the way he can't finish. I hate the way you move. So Scott says, big up, mate. Keep up the work. Need sleep. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, brilliant, mate. Go on, Scott. Get some sleep, mate. And I'll probably see you again on the next live. Keep up the hard work, mate. You're doing a good job. And Amin says, win 5 Premier League games in a row. That will make me believe. Okay, so what's our next 5 Premier League games? So I think it's West Ham, Crystal Palace, Man City, Ipswich, and Villa. I think our next 5. I'm not sure if it's that order, but I think that's our next 5. So do you believe that we should be beating Manchester City? I think we've got to play them twice in the Cup and in the league in the next few weeks. Here's a question for you. Do you think would you rather beat Man City in the Cup and lose to them in the league, or beat them in the league and lose to them in the Cup? I would rather beat them in the Cup and lose to them in the league, because we're not going to win the Premier League. So it doesn't matter to me if we lose to Man City. It does matter to me, obviously. I want to win both. That would be my answer. But if I had a choice between league or League Cup, I would pick the League Cup win, because that would put us into the quarterfinals of a cup competition that then we have a very good chance of winning, because we just knocked out the champions. Edward says, as long as the win-loss ratio is at least 3-1 loss. So you mean like as long as we win 3, lose 1, win 3, lose 1? I think if we did that all season, I think we'd finish quite high up in the table. I can't do the maths straight off my head. But every 4 games we've won 3, so that's 6 wins in 8. That's 12 wins in 16. Yeah, that's not bad. We'll probably end up with quite a few points that way. With me as well, if we draw, it's like a lose. It's like a loss to me, because if you draw, you're only getting 1 point. Like somebody that loses and somebody that wins, it's 1 point difference. You should get 2 points for a draw. Actually, no, because then it made the Premier League boring, because everyone will just go for draws all the time. Win 5 Premier League. I've done that. Edward, as long as we win ratio, yeah. JTB, hello mate, how you doing? Have tickets for the AZ and City, so we better win those. Well, mate, so you might be our new good luck omen. So if you've got tickets for the AZ game, that's at home as well, isn't it? So, and City, is that the City game in the Cup, or you got the City game in the league? Because we've got them coming up as well. So, or you got both Cup games. But we owe West Ham 1. Yeah, we definitely owe West Ham a spanking, because we played very well against them in the first half. We should have battered them. We should have closed the game off. It's a story of of Ange Postecoglou at the moment. We should have, would have, could have, and it's not happening at the minute. JTB, hello, Logic. Hope you're well. Hello, mate, UK. And yes, Cup. So you got both Cup games. So hopefully, if we beat I think we'll beat Alkmaar. I really do. We should be beating them. Definitely should be beating them. And if we do beat Manchester City, which is not inconceivable, we're probably since Pep's been in charge, we've probably beat them the most, especially at home. So I'm pissed off that they broke the curse, because that curse was really getting to them, wasn't it? It was really they came with Haaland and Alvarez and whoever they came with. It just wasn't happening. They came with Aguero, Sterling when Sterling was in form, De Bruyne. None of them could beat us. But now they've broken the hoodoo. So, but hopefully we can get that winning run against Man City back up and running. To be fair, last season when we lost to them 2-0, the infamous if we won, Arsenal would win the league game. Then we really were the better side in that game, to be honest, for periods of that game. Not for the whole game, but periods of that game, we were the better side. So there's no reason, and we was in really bad form as well before that game. So there's no reason why we can't beat Manchester City. No reason. Other than they're the best team in the Europe. But we'll forget about that for a minute. Fort City, JTB says Fort City was quite lucky to beat us 1-0 in that cup. Yeah, and they were. We didn't do much in that game. That was another game that was similar to the Arsenal game just gone. We had a lot of the ball, but didn't do much with it, and City didn't really do much attacking. It was it was a weird game, that game. But City seemed to keep knocking us out of the cups. Do you remember we lost to them in the League Cup final as well? The infamous Jose Mourinho getting sacked before it. They knocked us out in the FA Cup last season, so we owe them one. We owe them to knock them out. The Alex Scott experience. I don't expect us to finish any higher than 8th this season. Hi Alex, how you doing, mate? I hope you're well. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that that we only finished 8th. I obviously disagree. I think we will finish top 4-3. I still don't think our points are reflecting our performances, and if that happens, we will gain a lot more points this season than last. I think we'll finish on more points than last season, and we finished 5th last year, 2 points off 4th. Remember, Aston Villa fell off massively as well, though. I won't forget that. Yeah, agree with JTB. Weird game. Yeah, I agree, mate. The Alex Scott experience. Pep is not prioritizing the League Cup, so he'll field a weakened side. Yeah, Pep said some things like that before in the past. And what is a Pep weakened side? Because a Pep weakened side was probably still just as strong as our team, because they've got like 24 brilliant players, so they could play a reserve 11. It'd still be as strong as our team. They've got some really good youngsters as well, like really good. Like they let go Cole Palmer. That's how much bloody strength they've got. So I wouldn't even even if they played a weaker side, it would still be a strong team. I agree with Alex. 7th, I said in the summer. Yeah, JTB. Yeah, he's at JTB. In his defense, he's been saying that to me all season, that he'll finish 7th or 8th. So he's been consistent with what he's been saying. It's just reality, man. These owners have zero ambition. Yeah, maybe. It looks like Stavely might be coming in, so let's see what happens there. Whether Levy will let her take control or not is a different story. We're not good enough, says Alex. All that shows is how poor the Premier League is at the moment. Premier League's not poor. Premier League's got some very, very good teams in it. Chelsea have started to up their game now. Villa are a good side. Newcastle are good when they've got their players back. City are strong. Arsenal strong. Liverpool strong. It's not a weak league at all. Amin says we will finish 7th in the league, quarterfinals, Carabao, and FA Cup this season. If that did happen, Amin, and we finished 7th and got quarterfinals of 2 cups, is that regression? Because that would be regression for me. Not winning the trophy and finishing low in the league is going backwards, in my opinion. JTB, any injuries to kept players, we could really struggle. To key players, I think you're saying, yeah. We could struggle, yeah. So definitely, but again, that's with every team. If they lose key players, they will struggle. Arsenal had injuries last season, but not to key players. They didn't lose Odegaard last season. They didn't lose Saka. They didn't lose Saliba, Gabriel, Rice. But again, they've lost them this season, and they seem to be doing okay. So far, so good for Arsenal. So Alex says, remember Pep complained about tiredness with his team when they lost against Real Madrid. Yeah, but again, he can complain about tiredness, but if Spurs get tired players, their squad players are not as strong. They're good players, but not as strong as City squad players. And if you're going to buy 24 brilliant players, you can't complain about tiredness, in my opinion. No way. If you've got that squad, you can't complain about tiredness. If you've got, I don't know, what's that? That left winger that plays is pretty decent. Doku, yeah. If you've got Doku playing, and you say, "Oh, Doku's tired," let's put Grealish in, £100 million player. You know, if Foden's tired, let's play De Bruyne. You know, see what I'm saying? It's a complete different level to say that you're tired. If we say Solanke's tired, we've got Richarlison. You know, Richarlison's okay. He's not bad, but he's not a De Bruyne. He's not a Foden. He's not a Doku. He's not. You see what I'm saying? The squad is a lot better. So when they do get tired players, then yeah, it's easier for them to cope with it. That's what I'm saying. But they've built that up, so you know, fair plays to them. It's got Stavley Affenk's twin. I don't know what that means. Sorry, I don't know what that means. JTB Chevsky are flying. Palmer is on fire, and think that they and Villa will definitely finish above us. Yeah, again, like Chelsea are flying, but so were we last season at the beginning. So as much as yes, they are a good side, they are conceding a hell of a lot of bloody goals. They conceded 2 against bloody Wolves, and at half time they should have been behind, to be honest. So they're conceding a lot of goals as well, and exactly what we were doing last season. We were playing very, very well, attacking football, but we were letting in goals. So we'll see. I think Chelsea are playing Liverpool soon, so we'll see then how good Chelsea are, because Chelsea haven't really come up against anyone apart from City, and they lost 2-0. And Liverpool the same. They haven't had that caliber of team yet. So we'll see how good these two teams are. Tottenham have already played Arsenal and lost, obviously. So we found out that we need to improve. So let's just see what Chelsea do. If Stavley comes to Tottenham, where will Daniel Levy build her stable? Okay. He will probably put her in the cupboard with Parachichi hidden away, pretending that they're not involved in what's going on. Amin says, if Van der Ven gets long-term injury, we're screwed. Yes and no, we're not screwed, but we'd have to play Dragushin and Romero nearly every game. So in that aspect, we'll be screwed. But I don't think defensively we'll be screwed. Alex Scott, Grealish is hindered under Pep. They never needed him. Yeah, and to be fair, sometimes I think Pep buys players so other teams can't strengthen. Conspiracy. But my thought behind that is, if they buy Grealish for 100 million, that means Spurs can't buy him. That means Arsenal can't buy him. That means Liverpool can't buy him. They bought another case in point is not Ashley Phillips, because that's our player. The Phillips guy, Calvin Phillips. They didn't need him either, but they bought him in and never played him. But again, if a Tottenham bought him when he was on form, or an Arsenal bought him when he was on form, because they would have probably bought him instead of Rice at the time, they just buy these players and just sit them on the bench. It doesn't make sense. And you've got to think their bench is stronger than a lot of teams, many teams' first 11. It's crazy. Huge mistake by Man City to sell Cole Palmer. Yeah. And do you think they see that as a mistake? Do you think they care? Because if they won the Premier League, like they won the Premier League last year after selling Cole Palmer, so it didn't make no difference to them. And they got 45 million for him, for a player that never played one game in the Premier League. So do you think they got a bargain for somebody that's never played, maybe? Maybe it looks like a mistake now, but they've still got Foden. Foden's like not far off his level, to be fair. Yeah, Chesky won the last. Yeah, Chelsea won their last 6 games. We finished the season lame. That's true, but then they sacked their manager for it, so that didn't make sense to me either. So I can't remember what point I made, Alex. My brain's gone to mush already. JTB wouldn't normally make fun of someone's looks, but Stavely looks like something out of the Thundercats. Yeah, but then maybe she might have that powerful sword that brings all the players from other countries that are the best into our team. Don't know. It could be a good thing. Do you think Pep could buy Timo Werner from us? Please. That'd be amazing. And we could sell him for 50 mil as well and say, don't buy him for goal scoring, buy him for work rate. And he's worth 50 mil just for work rate. And that's it, because we can't sell him any other way. We'll just send him a compliment. Well, how do you say that word? You know, when you do a video of all their best bits, we'll just do all the videos of him pressing players, and we'll just cross off all the videos where he's missed one-on-ones. You could do a whole video of him missing one-on-ones, couldn't you? It could last for about half an hour as well. Alex said, I'm saying Cole Palmer is world-class. Right? Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying he's a brilliant player, but it didn't affect them. What I'm saying is they sold Cole Palmer and still won the league. They didn't win the treble last year, was it? It was the year before. So they can't say they won the treble after selling him. But he's brilliant. I've watched Cole Palmer lately a lot, and he is brilliant. He's brilliant at free kicks. He's brilliant on the ball. He's brilliant in tight spaces. He's brilliant at through balls. He's brilliant at assists. He's brilliant at shooting. Brilliant at getting in goal scoring positions. Lethal in the box. There's not much Cole Palmer can't do. And the more we watch Cole Palmer, the more you think, wait a minute, is he better than Haaland? Because he scores just as many, but he does a lot more than Haaland does in the game as well. So that's a debate to have. Is Cole Palmer better than Haaland at the moment? Haaland scores a lot more goals, but if Cole Palmer was playing for City right now, would he score more goals? That's the question you need to ask. Yeah, I agree, Alex. Cole Palmer is the real deal, 100% the real deal. He is a brilliant player. I'm gutted that we didn't buy him now. You know, I'm gutted that our scouts didn't go in and say, bloody hell, he's a good player. I want to buy him off you and spend 45 million on him. Imagine what kind of signing that would have been. City do care. They really wanted him to stay, and he's probably worth more than triple that. Yeah, I agree, JTB. If he was sold now for, I don't know, if he was sold today, Cole Palmer would have to be sold for 120 to 150 million in today's market, 100%. If Lukaku's worth 80 mil, then Cole Palmer has to be worth double that. Has to be. JTB. She could kill Pep, Scott, Emery, and Lego head with that sword. Then we might win the league. Yes. Thundercats. Oh. Maybe she might come in and then she might sign like more 14-year-olds. You don't know, do you? Don't know what their plan is. If my wife looked like Amanda Stavely, I'd take her straight to the vets to be. Oh, come on, we can't slag her off. She might do some good stuff for this team. Alex Scott, what's sickening is that Palmer only cost 40 million and we could have signed him. Yeah, I just said that. Yeah, we could have signed Cole Palmer. But you got to remember, if we sign Cole Palmer, before he played, because he hasn't played a game in the Premier League, remember, how much slating would Levy have got if we paid 40 million for Palmer, a player that's not even played a single professional game in the Premier League? How much would the fans have turned on Levy at the time of purchase, not after watching him play, I mean at the time of purchase? How many fans would have turned against Levy for that? And Ange, come on, admit it, you would have. So, Dr. John, hello, mate. How you doing? Good day. Got Radu and Brennan scoring. Porro, man of the match. Solanke getting call up. And Richie Son on the mend. Yeah, so, it's looking better. against Brighton, when you wanted to change the game, we had no attacking players other than Mikey Moore to bring on to change the game. So in my opinion, it was a very hard decision to make. Change the midfield, that's fine, but it's not going to change the game. JTB, imagine Palmer in the team under Ange. Yeah, I know. That would have been crazy. I'm so gutted. Like, he was there. Like, he was in, like, Manchester City's reserves, basically sitting there saying, please sign me. And nobody spotted him. Come on, man. He must have been doing bits for Chelsea to pay 40 million for a player that's not played. And Chelsea look like geniuses now. You know what I'm saying? We really should have scouted better for that. What a miss that was. Alex Scott said, Daniel lured Amanda in the club by leaving a trail of sugar lumps from Newcastle to North London. That's a good point. That's probably what he did. He probably put sugar lumps with a fiver in each one. Follow it, and that's your wages for the year. JTB, I disagree. Levy spent that on Gray, mate. No, yeah, he did. That's what I'm saying. And when he spent that on Gray, everyone's moaning about it because Gray played in the Championship. But I'm saying Cole Palmer didn't even play a game for Manchester City or in the Championship. He hasn't played any games. So what I'm saying is we're getting slated for Gray, which he's not even had a chance to prove himself yet, by the way. And if we bought Cole Palmer with no experience whatsoever, I guarantee you the fan base would have had a meltdown about that. I guarantee you. And when he started playing, obviously, they would have changed their mind and said, bloody hell, he's a good player. Well, they would have said, bloody hell, he's world class. But on the day of the purchase, if we bought him, fans would have had a meltdown. I know it for a fact. Alex Scott, you're very good at live streams, mate. This is cracking fun time. Cheers, mate. I appreciate that. This is only my third one, by the way. So I'm still learning. There's still lots I need to learn about live streams. Sometimes I go off on a tangent and start talking about Australian holidays when I'm supposed to be talking about football. So I was just saying earlier in live stream before you joined that I just want this to be like a happy area where people can have their opinions, but we can still have a laugh about it. Do you know what I mean? Because we're all Tottenham. We all want the same thing at the end of the day. Palmer's had a massive rep last season and looked good in the cup games, etc. Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, my bad. Palmer's massive rep last season looked good in cup games. Okay, I didn't actually see any of those cup games. I didn't even know he played in them cup games. So apologies. So again, that's even worse for us because we should have seen him playing in them games then. So Alex, live streams are easier, more fun. Yeah, I suppose, and that's making it more for me now to do more live streams. I think I'm going to do more, to be honest, Alex. I think I'm going to do probably one per day. I don't know what's the best time for everyone though, because I've got a lot of following in Australia and a lot of following in the UK, but those times do not match. So I tried to meet in the middle and do it like at 10 a.m. or something. So then they're still up at night in Australia, I think, and still in the morning, but they're at work in the UK, so it's very hard. It's very hard to get a happy medium there. JTB, I am really surprised other teams were not in for him. He was very highly rated by everyone at City, and agree you're a great host, mate. Thanks, JTB. Appreciate it, mate. And you supported my channel as Alex has for a long time now. Even at the beginning when I was a very, very small channel, I'm not a big channel now, to be honest, but when I was a smaller channel, with only like 100 subscribers, you were messaging then, so I really appreciate your support. Chris Lonnie, there was no indication Palmer would perform the way he has before joining Chelsea. No, obviously that's what scouts are for, and you can only a scout's only job is to give you a potential of a player. They can say like this guy is, let's say they've seen someone in Spain, for example. They can say this guy is brilliant playing for Las Palmas in Spain. They can only say how good he is there. They can only say what attributes he's got and what he has, what he can bring to the Premier League. But they can never, ever, ever guarantee success. They can only give you their opinion that he can be a good player for your team. Not only that, he could already be a good player in the Premier League, but he may not fit your way of playing or your system. So there's a lot of things you need to think about before you bring a player in. Even mentality comes into it now. Like Ange is really big on mentality for players as well. So you can get it wrong, and it's easy to get things wrong. So we've just got to be very careful, like how we judge players straight away, because it's also a fitting in time as well. When you're settling in, I mean, not fitting in, settling in time for players as well. Some players settle in straight away, like Van der Ven settled in, boom, straight away, brilliant player straight away. But like players like Archie Gray and Bergvall are going to take a little while, even though they're good players still, in my opinion. They're going to take time. If you set upside down, Australia will be able to view you at the same time. Yes. Okay. I'll start doing my live streams upside down, mate. That's a good idea. Then I can talk to both of you at the same time. I try not to wake anybody up. Tim, is 8:30 p.m. East Australia, so this time is good. Okay, good. That was my thinking process. I was trying to get evening in Australia and like morning time in the UK, sort of thing. But again, I don't know what. It's very hard because people work different times as well. People on night shifts, people on day shifts as well. So you just got to try and find a happy medium, to be honest. JTB, you deserve all the support and success. I watch a lot of Spurs pods, and yours is definitely one of the best, mate. I appreciate that massively, mate. I'm still new to all this as well. Even though I've been doing this for over a year, in YouTube terms, that's still a short period of time. There's still a lot to learn. There's still a lot to still a lot to develop. As if you watch one of my old, I've kept every single video that I've ever done on my channel. And if you go back to the first one, I was too afraid to even speak in front of a camera. So I used to put pictures up and put an AI voice up to do my videos. It did relatively well, to be honest, better than I thought. But to move forward with this, you need to create relationships with your subscribers, and you need to talk to them like I am now, face to face. AI was never going to be sustainable, so I had to make a change. But if you looked right back at my beginning, it was completely different to what it is now. So you're always growing, and if you ever thought about doing a channel, it's just you need to be in it for the long run, because you only learn by doing, in my opinion. Alex, we play Oldsberg for 30, we pay Odegaard for 30 million, and Chelsea get the new Chris Waddle and Cole Palmer for a measly 40 million. I'm gutted. Yeah, I know. And that's what I was saying earlier about the scouts and stuff. They can only scout, and if they're not scouting Cole Palmer at the time and somebody else is, to be fair, I think even if we was in for Cole Palmer and Chelsea were, I still think he would have gone Chelsea. Just because of this hoodoo we have with trophies at the moment. I really do think it affects what kind of players we get in at the moment. We need to break that hoodoo. Angelo, hi mate. Hello Angelo, mate. How you doing? 8:30 p.m. in Sydney. Big up. Hope you're doing well, mate. Chris Palmer, JTB. Chris Palmer was definitely showing flashes for City. Cole Palmer, sorry. Definitely showing flashes for City, England youth levels for a while. Yeah, no, I didn't know that, mate. So no, good points made there. So next time I talk about Cole Palmer, I can say that. Thanks. I'll use that. Alex, I'm hearing Vuskovic is going to be sold now, as he's not going to see any game time here. Really? I heard the opposite. I heard he's smashing it out in the Belgian league. Did you know he's playing for Westerlo? And I was researching him a little bit. And he's the next best thing to come out of Belgium, apparently, because I know he's Croatian, but I'm talking about the Belgian league, because he's a centre back. He's already scored 4 goals in 10 games this season. I think he's 6'6" now. He's 17 years old, and apparently he's a beast. So I'm not sure about that. I've not heard the rumours that he's going to be sold. I've heard that he's going to come in and be a beast. Chris, there's really only 2 channels that come on around this time. Jose and Kate's. Okay. So is this time good for everybody then? Because I'm trying to find a happy medium. Tim, a lot of other Spurs sites are driven by clickbait tags and content. It does your head in after a while. Yeah, I know. And I'm really trying to stay away from that. I got told by one of my best mates that after a while, I will start doing that to get more clicks and more views and that. But I said to him, I won't. I won't ever put out a video that deceives the public. Like, for example, like if during the transfer window, I'm not going to say Spurs have signed someone if they're not. I actually did the opposite. I did a video taking the piss a little bit because I did a video saying Tottenham are going to sign 47 players because at the time Tottenham were linked to 47 different players within a month. And I refuse to keep saying Spurs are linked, Spurs are linked, Spurs are linked, because we all know it's bollocks. Especially when they say things like Spurs are linked to Osherman. We all know that's not going to happen. So don't put that video out. I even did a laughy, jokey one about Spurs to sign Mbappe because there was a joke going around that Spurs were going to sign Mbappe or something. And I just put a joke video out saying that's not going to happen. Dr. John says, yeah, there's many factors. It's like actors and movie roles. Robin Williams was great, but wouldn't do well as Conan the Barbarian. That's a very good point. Can you imagine if we went into a different world and Robin Williams was Conan the Barbarian? Only on this channel we can talk about that. Angelo, all doubtful players were at training yesterday except for Odegaard, it seemed. Yeah, exactly. I think Odegaard is close, but he won't be making it for the West Ham game. But I'm hoping he can make it for Thursday's game. I'm going to have to go soon, people, because me and my wife are going to go out for some food, and I've been on it for an hour and 20 minutes, and I think she's getting sick of it already. I'm really appreciate. I'm going to try and get through all your comments now quickly, and then I'm going to have to leave it because we are starving now. And the guy that was on earlier was talking about being a butcher and talking about meat, and it made me hungry. I never would have thought that. You always seem very assured and confident and give your honest opinions and accept others' views as well and agree. Chavsky always sign players over us. For fuck's sake. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, JTB. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, mate. I don't know how it might be because I've been in management for like 5 years and I've always done conference calls and I've always had to speak clearly about what my company's doing and all that sort of stuff. So maybe that helps a little bit. We can't sell Viskovits. I heard we will be in our squad next season, especially if Real signs Romero. Yeah, and I really think that's going to happen. I think Romero is going to go next season, especially if we don't win a trophy this year. Alex, you'll have to research as to what the best times, but I'd imagine you'll learn from experience. Yeah, definitely. I've done the 3 lives now, and all 3 have been around 9-10 a.m. in UK time, and it seems to have been pretty decent. So before I go, please, anybody that's watching that hasn't smashed that like button, it really helps this channel get bigger and grow. If you enjoy the channel, please smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It really, really helps me grow. And I want to have more experiences like this where we can have a laugh about Spurs and, you know, not get too over exaggerated with them. Don't upset the wife. No, I'm trying my best not to, mate. Many thanks, mate. Have a great munch and weekend. I will do, mate. I'm going to have a massive munch, I think, now. I'm not a small guy, so I need to eat a lot. It costs more when you're big like me, I'm telling you. Cheers, and enjoy the game this weekend, and hopefully we get a big, massive win. Thanks, Dr. John. You take care, mate. Thanks for supporting this channel as well. And Chris, for me, the key to this channel is the moderators. Some are quite a few, and they have and anti-Ange, Enoch, and Levy out, throw in accusing people being happy clappers delusional. Yeah, I know, and I hate all of these. I hate all of these phrases. I hate happy clappers. I hate delusional. I hate let someone have an opinion. Like me and Alex don't agree on loads of things, but me and Alex get on really, really well, for example. So it's good to have debates. It's good to talk about things. But, Alex has never once insulted me. He may have called me like maybe delusional once or twice, but sometimes I can be a bit too much. I can be like, Spurs are going to finish 3rd or something, I can be. But sometimes I get carried away, and Alex just brings me down to earth, which is good. Yeah, it's looking like Dragushin Romero's replacement, and Spence is more likely Porro's replacement. Yeah. Can you imagine if Romero and Porro both went to Real Madrid next season? Can't see it happening, but can you imagine that? I've paid money and joined, and then left almost all of them. Bloody hell. Okay. You can join mine if you want. I have a membership too. No force in there. No force in, just advertising. And yeah, cheers, JTP. Come on, you Spurs. Hopefully we get a big win this weekend. Marcel, third. Yes, I know. I get laughed at a lot. I'm too positive sometimes. Alex, I destroy all optimists. Right, I'm going to have to go now, people. Thank you very much for supporting this channel. It's much appreciated. Please don't forget to smash that like before you leave. And I'll probably let this channel go out as well. I think after it goes live, it just goes onto my videos and anyone can watch it. But because it's like 2 hours long, not many people watch it anyway, to be fair. Well, I don't think they do. I've never really checked. But hopefully you'll have a good weekend. Hopefully Spurs can get that win, and hopefully we're all very happy on my next live stream. If Spurs lose, I'm dreading my next live stream. I've got to try and pick everyone up. It's not going to be easy. Not a lot of people want to speak about Spurs when we lose, so it makes my job even harder. But thank you again for all your support. It's much appreciated, and I'll promise I'll come on the live even if we lose. And thank you to everyone that's commented. Thank you everyone that's liked and subscribed. And I'll see you next time. And before I go, I always like to say, come on, you Spurs. And Timo hat-trick is not happening. Don't say it, Alex. Timo hat-trick is not happening. If that happens, you should have put that on the bookies and you'll be a millionaire. Till next one, come on, you Spurs.